Hey, it's Matt here, and thank you for tuning into this video. This is part 2 video. I answered a question earlier in a video in part 1 about what is water-soluble CBD. I know a lot of you guys have been hearing that term around, might have heard nano liposomes or some of these different marketing terms that are kind of going around for water-soluble CBD. And answered the question, like, is it really better for people? You hear that there are way more absorption rates and all these different things. And so I kind of broke that down and talked about it a little bit in the last video. So in this video, what I'm wanting to cover is I want to explain how do you take a fat-soluble CBD or hemp extract, which is in its natural form, and how do you make it water-soluble? I want to talk about some of the components that go into that, and then how to do those naturally, and what are some natural ingredients that you can use to do so. So first off, let's go over the 5 components that make up a water-soluble formulation. Like I said, CBD in its natural state is not water soluble. So let's go over what is involved and what are the ingredients and environment to be able to do so. So number 1 is water. This is what we're trying to dissolve into is in a way. So right, you got to start with your fat soluble and you're trying to get it dissolved into water. So water is number 1 component. Number 2 is the hemp extract itself. So whatever type you're using, whether it be a full spectrum that has a little THC or a broad spectrum that has no THC or even an isolate, what is the hemp extract that you're going to be using as an ingredient? Number 3 is a surfactant. Another term for that is emulsifier. Those are pretty big. It's basically, you might have heard the term emulsifying, but what surfactants and emulsifiers do is they're basically designed to help oil and water components that don't typically go together help dissolve together better. Number 4 is a carrier oil. The carrier oil plays a role in several different areas, but helps kind of overall stabilizes the formulation in general. And then number 5 is a preservative, which is mainly used because there's antimicrobial with water-based solutions. You can get more mold. It's more susceptible to antimicrobials. So you want to do something to where you put that in there to where you don't have mold coming in your products and all those kind of things too. So that's why the preservative is used. Next, after you have all these ingredients together, we're going to be inserting some energy to them. Energy basically being the most common one used is what we use is sonication. Sonication is basically just like a very high vibrational. Think of something getting shaken so hard that you're actually ripping some of these molecules apart to where if they're in these proper ingredient or with all these other proper ingredients, they snap back together in a different way. What you're looking to do is a surfactant or some of the other components of it actually cover the fat-soluble molecule of CBD that won't combine with water, and they'll actually encapsulate it. And so therefore it becomes water-soluble. So overall, it's not that the CBD becomes water-soluble, it's that in the proper environment and the proper ingredients, with that energy and that sonication, the water-soluble substances that you're adding will wrap the CBD, and therefore it is able to be dissolved in water. So the truth is that most water-soluble products contain chemicals. Why do they do that? So why would you put chemicals in it, and why do you need that? And basically it comes down to this. It's faster overall, it's cheaper, it's easier, and it's more stable and consistent. So dealing with natural things and nature and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of variables that don't happen when you're dealing with a specific chemical. Chemicals are also cheaper, which is a big incentive for companies to use as well. So overall, like why would anyone want to not use it on a natural one? It's because in general, it's driven by market and it's driven by easiness and consistency. And you want consistency as well, but at the expense, I don't think, at least for me, is what's not going to be at the expense that I have to put chemicals or other harmful things in my body as well. So what we shot to do, what a lot of people shoot to do, is try to find ways to make natural emulsions and liposomes that are water compatible, that work for people and don't have all that junk in them. The last thing let's go over the basically a natural water soluble formulation. What's all involved in those, because we'll go back down in the components and also kind of give a couple examples, right? So the surfactant, right? Some of the things that we use that are clean, sunflower lecithin. One of the active, molecules or compounds in there is phosphatidylcholine, which is very good for your brain health in general. And is a very good carrier and helps get the CBD transported and binding to cells better and transferred the medicine in there. So it does have a high absorption rate. So sunflower lecithin, if you've ever heard the term phosphatidylcholine, which is just a more refined version of it, is something that is a good one to use as a surfactant. Another one, saponin bark. Saponin bark is basically a tree bark that is used to make a lot of different soaps. It is all natural, and I do like these for nano-emulsions and have used them in the past. The one thing I don't like about saponin as much is just the fact that it has a little bit easier time to mold and develop antibacterial and antimicrobial activity, which is what we don't want in the products. So typically I tend to steer towards the sunflower lecithin or the PC, but in general, saponin could be a good one, especially if you have a good preservative as well. Second is the CBD itself, or the hemp extract that you're using itself. You know, it's very, very, very important that it's clean and that it's organic, right? If you're starting and you're making these materials more bioavailable in your body and the CBD, you're also making the pesticides, herbicides, any solvents, heavy metals, or anything that's contained in that plant. And hemp is a very absorbable crop, and you're making those more absorbable in your body. So it's extremely important to start with good, clean material at the very beginning. 3 is the carrier oil. I like using olive oil. We use Sacha Inchi oil. Basically, those are long chain oils instead of like an MCT, which is a medium chain oil. MCT is good for the fat soluble products, but in the nano emulsions and the liposomes, it's better to use long chain, which is like olive oil or Sacha Inchi in general. And I feel like you get better results that way as well. The last component is the preservative. Couple ones that are good, vitamin E. There's also a lot of different companies that do some blends from nature, so they're pulling different ones. I think NatureX is a good brand that I've seen, and then basically those are kind of all natural forms of preservatives. They might use rosemary, thyme, some of these herbs and things that have antimicrobial and help with the mold naturally, and they kind of blend them together to make the best product solution available. So there are more and more natural preservatives popping on the market, and that's what we tend to shoot for in our natural or in our nano emulsions and water soluble products that we make. Lastly, I want to just kind of talk to you guys about the Shine Light products. We use a mixture of basically all the stuff I said above. It changes and it varies depending on some of the stuff that we're learning, and when our lab and the people that we work with are coming up with better formulations that are working better for people. We kind of do with those. So we do have a mix as we're testing these things in real time to see what's working for people and what's not developing mold and staying good and stable as well. But we do use all the stuff that I talked about above. We've used in different points of times and different variations. And so, like I said, we try to stay up with the latest research and what is working for people the most. Another thing that we're doing with water soluble in our products to energize and radiate is our product at Shine Light. Is we add back the lost compounds. So when you're taking that hemp extract and you're going to be water solubilizing it, a lot of times you have to have it really, really, really refined to be able to put in the water soluble process. Refined means that you have to go through distillation processes and more processes with the hemp in order to get it to that point. All those processes, what they mean is lost stuff, right? Lost compounds and lost beneficial stuff from the plant that I believe is very important in, kind of the whole thing that makes up our products in the total spectrum. So what we do is we recapture these lost compounds and we have them from a steam distillation, and we then add them back. For our water soluble product, they're geared towards energizing and radiating. So it's going to help you energize and focus overall. But I think it's important in general in these products, and why we did it is to add back some of these lost compounds that make this whole plant experience, and just do it in a way that you have now a more bioavailable natural form to take it in, right? So that's kind of a little bit about Shine Light products. I hope this video found you well. I hope this was informative. If you have any questions, I'd like to encourage you to go to shinelightlife.com. We have a chat, ask any questions. We would like to hear from you and kind of hear some of your feedback, as well as some of the questions and confusions you guys might have around CBD. I know there's a lot of products out there, there's a lot of marketing hype, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference between some of the different products. And I get it. So what I'm here to do, and there are really good products, so I'm not wanting to smash anybody with other products either. I just want to kind of explain what makes a good product, and what are some of the things that we look for, so you guys can decide for yourself. But like I said, I'd love to have you on www.shinelightlife.com. Check out our products. They're amazing. They really help a lot of people, and I hope this video helped. Thanks for tuning in.